What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with TechDaily, and in this video, we're going to be doing a camera comparison test between the Samsung Galaxy M31 and the Samsung Galaxy A71. Now, there's really one reason why I wanted to do this camera comparison. Both these phones technically have 64 megapixel main camera lenses. That's what it says on the box, at least. And both phones come from Samsung, obviously. So in theory, under most circumstances, you might assume that the picture and video results could be the same, or at least close. But as it turns out, that's not always the case, and I'll explain why in just a minute. But before we do get into the picture and video samples, I want to dive a little deeper into the hardware with each phone so we sort of know what we're working with. And I also want to offer a guess as to why these results might be so different. If you aren't interested, feel free to skip ahead or find the timestamp in the comments down below to get right into the pictures. So like I mentioned, both the M31 and the A71 have the same specs when it comes to the main lens. A 64 megapixel f1.8 aperture shooter with the same sensor size and seemingly the same capabilities. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any hard evidence other than that. I don't know if the lenses are manufactured differently or if we're working with old stock versus new stock or something like that. But at least on paper, the specs and the details for the main lens appear to be the same. You also get the same macro lens and depth sensing lens in each phone too. And these lenses are used across a wide range of phones now. So again, there's no reason to believe that there's any real difference at all here with those. The only actual hardware difference you'll come across is with the wide angle lens. The M31 has an 8 megapixel ultra wide shooter, while the A71's is a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens. And I think the results will speak for themselves here in a moment with the wide angle shots. The A71 is able to do a considerably better job. But let's talk about the bigger picture here, because lens hardware and megapixels and all that stuff are just one side of the equation. Phones need to process the images and videos during and after they're being taken. And when it comes to the internal specs of a phone, that can have an impact as well. And in this case, the A71 has the better specs. It packs the Snapdragon 730 processor, while the M31 has the Exynos 9611. The A71 also has the better Adreno 618 GPU, with the M31 offering the Mali G72. When it comes to the RAM, the M31 has just the 6 gig option, while the A71 can be configured with 4, 6, or 8 gigs, depending on what you choose to buy. But in general, it is fair to say that the A71 has higher end specs and better processing potential. So with equal camera hardware, the A71 could get more out of the setup and process the results better. So let's dive into some side-by-side comparisons to see what's really going on. With this first picture here, which is just sort of a broad landscape, I think we get a good representation of the consistent characteristics you'll see across the samples with each of these phones. The first thing I noticed right away is the color difference. The blues in the sky and in the water are deeper and more vivid from the A71. In the Eiffel Tower and the connecting building almost have an orangey tint when compared to the grayer color from the M31. I think in this particular instance, the color looks better and more pleasing on the A71, though overall it does give off a saturated look. With the M31, I think we're getting a brighter, more exposed image, but it doesn't pop as much. Detail-wise, everything looks the same to me, and I don't think either phone has a clear advantage there. Now, interestingly enough, with this shot, everything I mentioned from the first picture is reversed. The M31 now has bumped up the saturation to a point where this gold emblem looks almost copper compared to how it's supposed to look. However, I think the M31 nailed the white balance significantly better. The white wall captured with the A71 is this bluish green color, so it missed the mark there. But once again, I think the detail captured in each picture is pretty much the same. And for me personally, that's the most important aspect. You can adjust the exposure and white balance and saturation when you shoot or even after the fact, but it's not really possible to edit in a clearer, more detailed shot. That's up to the hardware to do the job. Now, here's a case where I think both phones actually ended up taking pretty much the same shot. The A71 might be a little more saturated, the grass is a deeper green color, and the blue sky pokes out a bit more. But compared to the other two shots, this is an instance where the difference isn't nearly as extreme. One thing with these photos that's really different though is the wide angle shots. And I think this is where the M31 struggles the most. It seems like there's two extremes here: oversaturation and a nearly complete loss on the dark areas and shadows. The sharp blue water looks sort of interesting on the M31, but the practically pitch black spots where the shadows are really kill this image. When we just take a regular picture of the same scene, things go back to normal for the M31, and it lines up pretty well with what we have on the A71. In general, the wide angle camera on the M31 can be okay, like in this instance, for example, where there really aren't any shadows. But the more extreme dark areas a picture has, the more the M31 falters. In regards to the front selfie camera, we're again dealing with very close specs, but seemingly different hardware that I can't exactly confirm. Both cameras are 32 megapixel shooters. The M31's has an f2.0 aperture, while the A71's is an f2.2. So I'm gonna assume different lenses altogether, and with that we do see different results. The first thing here I notice is just how pink I look with the A71, while the skin tone from the M31 seems more natural. However, things are a bit smoother with the M31 on the skin, though fortunately no detail is lost like with my beard or my wrinkles. So there's a nice balance there, and I think that's good. There also seems to be a pretty striking difference in the size and shape of my head, which sounds weird, but the more you look at it, the more, I guess, rounded I look with the A71. So definitely working with different lenses here, and that can potentially affect how you look. And with live focus, I think while the pictures look okay, there's pretty good background and subject separation after all. Neither phone did particularly good with the subject, especially with the skin tone. The A71 to me looks darker overall, with a poorer interpretation of the shadows, and a paler looking skin, while the M31 is brighter and more saturated, but with maybe an orangey look. If I have to choose, I think I like what the M31 did in this case, but honestly, both pictures can use a little help. So I have a whole bunch more picture and video samples I'd like to show you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and let them play through for a bit so you can analyze and critique them for yourself. Enjoy the pictures, and I'll meet back up with you guys at the end of the video. All in all, I think both phones have the potential to take a pretty good picture. What's interesting though is how consistently inconsistent the results were. Sometimes I liked the M31, other times I liked the A71, and every once in a while we did get basically the same results. What's probably most important though is the simple fact that the A71 is almost twice as expensive as the M31. And while I do consider the A71 to be a better phone overall, I don't think it's the better picture taker 100% of the time. With that being said, I want to leave it up to you guys. Which phone do you think did a better job? I'd love to know your thoughts, of course. Also, be sure to follow TechDaily on Twitter and subscribe to the TechDaily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.